Good morning. I'm just wanting to share some things that stood out to me in our daily Bible readings for this week from the book of Hebrews. I think it's chapter 2 through 5. Excuse me. It's the author of the book of Hebrews is still is kind of disputed because the author's not named, but most scholars seem to feel like it's the Apostle Paul. Because the Apostle Paul, of many reasons why they feel that way, but one reason why I think that it could be Paul for sure is because he was such a very committed Jewish follower of the Jewish religion. He was of the tribe of Benjamin, circumcised on the 8th day, a Hebrew of the Hebrews, he says of himself. He was raised schooled under Gamaliel, and he was raised and lived as a Pharisee, which was a very strict religious order. And so Paul certainly would have had the knowledge of the old covenant that he could have compared it to the new. So to me, it makes sense that it was the Apostle Paul. So there's a lot of things in Hebrews in the book, even in these chapters, that you could talk about today, but just a couple of things jumped out to me, and those things are Christ is our high priest, and Jesus as a high priest is different than the other priests because he is not a descendant of Aaron and not of the tribe of Levi, but he is of the tribe of Judah. But he is a priest according to the order of Melchizedek, it says in this. And so he is a priest coming from a different direction because he was appointed by God to be priest. And so he is our high priest. And he is touched with the feelings of our infirmities because he has walked in our shoes. So you can go to Jesus with anything and he will understand exactly what you're going through. And he's our high priest, and he intercedes for us with the Father. And I'd like to read just 3 verses from chapter 4, 14, 15, and 16. Seeing then that we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold fast our confession. For we do not have a high priest who cannot be sympathized with our weaknesses, but was in all points tempted as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly to the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of trouble. Never hesitate to bring your needs to Jesus. He is there for us. He is our eternal high priest, and he is constantly interceding for us. And so you can take anything to Jesus. It doesn't matter how bad it is or how bad you feel about it. Jesus will understand your position. And he is a high priest that will give you grace and help to help you in time of any kind of need. And that's a very important thing from the book of Hebrews. And another thing that I noticed is that the Old Testament saints basically had the same gospel preached to them as we have preached to us. But it didn't profit them because it wasn't mingled with faith in those that believed. And so it says in chapter 4, verse number 2, for indeed the gospel was preached to us as well as to them, but the word which they heard in the old did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in those that heard it. We who have believed do enter the rest. So they weren't able to enter into the full benefits of the old covenant because of unbelief. In fact, it mentions in these verses about an evil heart of unbelief. So in God's eyes, a great sin that we don't often think of as sin is unbelief. So God responds to faith. Without faith, it's impossible to please Him. It says over in the 11th chapter of the book of Hebrews. So we need to believe what God says and exercise our faith in God and not just know these things, but believe these things. Reach out in faith, and we can receive the benefit of the new covenant through faith. So there's just a lot of things in this chapter you could look at. It says a lot about the angels, the ministry of angels. It says a lot of things about many different things. So, but these are some of the couple of things that kind of jumped out to me when I read through it this time. So may that be a blessing to you. Thank you.